today I will try to explain how we use the internal and the external authority list and how to make most of it. I will share my screen now and show you a small presentation on that. Just 1 second. Yep. So why it is important to have an authority list? There is a lot of repetitive information throughout every project. If there is a possibility that you would refer to the same thing again and again, you should think of a way to escape the repetitive encoding and to spare your effort and your time and just refer to this entity ideally in and place this entity in another place. Yeah. This is one thing that is quite important for the authority lists to spare time and efforts. And the other thing is really important is to enforce consistency within the corpus and between different corpora. It might be really helpful when working with multiple encoders, and when you don't have like really strict rules written somewhere, to have a controlled vocabulary that every encoder has access to escape from. Sorry, let me see what the chat. Yep. We forgot to ask you questions about yesterday's sessions, and did you encounter any type of problems? But I think we will have time. We will have plenty of time, even in the morning sessions. So if you have any questions, save them for now. And after a while, we will go again to our example XML document, and we will discuss it if you have something that is not clear or something that screams a mistake and you have read in your oxygen. So, and the third, here it is listed in a different way, but the third important thing about having a controlled vocabulary is to separate and to keep the external information in a different place, not in the actual XML of your monument, because otherwise, and I have taught that like a lot throughout the first 2 days, you don't want your XML to be extremely large and hard to follow. If you make a mistake, it would be harder to go through a large piece of code. And if there are multiple colleagues after you that are going to work on the same document, it would be extremely tiring for them to try to follow all the elements and the tags with links, with different comments and so on. Everything you can keep away from the actual XML should be placed somewhere else. So what can we do with control? What things can we make an authority list about? In the descriptive data, these things are quite obvious. We would like a general list of materials used, for instance, like marble, limestone, sandstone, copper or and whatever. Object types, dating criteria. Well, I think that we didn't use that in our project. For the dating criteria, you probably should have an universal dating criteria in your project in general, not to list different types of dating, but that's my opinion. Letter types, hand types, and of course, places. Modern places, ancient places, places throughout the text, but this is for the descriptor and data. So where your monument was found, for instance, the city of Philippopolis and the modern place of Plovdiv there are multiple monuments from Philippopolis, and you don't have to refer every single time to Philippopolis to write down prose text. This was found in Philippopolis. You can just place Philippopolis in an external list and refer to it every time you have it in a monument. And then in the text of the monument, again, you can have authority lists about people. We briefly mentioned that you can divide your people's list, general persons list, within different categories. For instance, you can have a list of the emperors, a list of the attested people, persons, of the rulers, simple folk that have some sort of profession mentioned within the text, and so on and so on. So that depends on the scope of your project. You just think about it beforehand and make an authority list for every single category you would like to point out and to show on your site. And then, of course, mentioned places, that is a very interesting information. Different types of offices. I don't know, we had military organizations, that is also interesting, and other types of stuff. Basically, you can make an authority list on everything you find important enough and repetitive enough to place in a list. I see that Mitko turned on his microphone. Would you like to add something?
Well, not for now. I mean, we'll see what happens when we start doing the examples. But yeah, this is pretty exhaustive list.
Okay. I just thought that there is something I'm missing. If not,
No.
I should continue. So general lists, again, we are dealing with this that we encountered yesterday, XML ID. To create a list and to point out a specific item, you need to give it an ID. An ID, as I said, and as Mitko said, is unique for every single item. And when you point to a specific ID, it automatically directs you here. So, yep.
May I add something, because it might not be self-evident? The authority files are written in XML, and they're separate XML files that live somewhere else, but they do not conform to a schema. They need to be only well-formed.
Well, so they do conform to the general
PI namespace something, but they're not EpiDoc RNG latest version of schema compliant.
Yeah, but they do comply to the general schema, so still you can have mistakes you can receive mistake errors in your XML in your authority lists as well. So
Yes, but this is not the typical structure of an XML, EpiDoc XML file. This is like general XML.
For instance, our attested persons list is with a mistake because of the interesting solution Jamie Norrish found, late Jamie Norrish found on describing the professions. And for
Yeah.
it looks wrong, but it isn't. It's yeah, it's a bit complicated, but we will get there. For now, let's say about the ID. So you have multiple items. Every single item you would like to list is encoded in some sort of element. And that element, in that case, item, and that element contains XML ID. The XML ID is unique, and in your XML files, you refer to the very same XML ID that you have in the authority list. If you, by mistake, make a typo when referring to the ID, it cannot find it. So you have to be diligent about it. And you have something we also said yesterday, you have to be to keep it simple with the IDs in order to remember them by heart more easily. So here we have different type of materials, and you have them in English. Of course, if you're doing a multilingual project, as most of the cases are actually, you can have all the translations, and that is also a very useful feature of the authority list. You can have all the translations and descriptions if you want. You can have descriptions of your items. All this additional information for a single item should be placed in the authority list in order not to make your XML of the monument too big and too complicated. So here we have marble, but within this XML element, you can have English translation, Bulgarian translation, Serbian translation, short definition what marble is if you find it necessary, and probably and possibly a reference to an outside external gazetteer, but we will get there in a while. Yeah, nothing more interesting here. Yeah, something I mentioned when you write your XML, you just have to reference with that ref attribute to the XML file that contains your authority list, hashtag the ID of the item you are referring to. So here we have a shoe-shaped bronze tablet. Bronze is the material, and we encode it as material. And then we add a reference within this material element, reference pointing to the list of materials that lives somewhere else. And again, within this list of materials, you can have more information about the bronze itself. Okay, so another example, list of the monuments. It is really important to be consistent, especially when about this descriptive data, the monuments, types of monuments, types of inscriptions, and so on and so on. So I think that all of the projects that are functioning now and that are under development now are dealing with authority lists. Authority lists aren't obligatory, but are really of help and are really useful. Nothing interesting here. Yeah. XML ID ARA, cat desk alter, cat desk base, cat desk barrel. That would be different types of monuments. Yep. And something like this you will see in our authority lists that I will show you a bit later. But the elements used for describing an item are quite fluid. You can use different elements and still get a valid authority list that is completely useful. So that is why I'm slowing down a bit, because I'm not recognizing this particular code, this particular elements. We are using different tags. But that's not to worry about, as long as you have the ID and you refer to it in your XML. Persons, another important and interesting authority list, a list of different types of person. The lists of persons could be simple, just listing the mentioned persons within your corpus, or they could be a little bit more complicated, as the example shown here. And I will just take a look and explain more about it for a while. Here we have person with XML ID pers001, and he is Marion Papios. And the second XML ID, the second person, is Agatopus. Pers number 3 is Marcus Aurelius Agatopus. And then we have some sort of code that gives more information about this person. So far, we have 3 different persons. Within the third person, we have a relation element that gives information about about different relations within the authority lists, within different persons. So he is type son, he is son of active person number 3. How come? Passive person number 2. So that would mean that he is the son of Agatopus. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mitko. I think the active is subject to the passive. Isn't that so?
Okay.
Yep, I think so. I just can't remember the active and the passive.
Yes.
What was the relation? And then we have
So.
a fourth person, Elia, which is wife of Marcus Aurelius Agatopus. And she is the active person, and the passive person whom she is married to is person number 3. I hope you didn't get lost into that.
I would say that this is we're showing you some presentations that contain everything that you could possibly do with the authority lists and other features, but I would say that there's no not on every occasion you will be able to identify persons whose relationships to each other you know exactly. Maybe on a funerary monument, yes, then you might want to describe their relationships, but otherwise you will simply have attested persons in
And
honorific
yeah,
other
another
types of
thing
monuments.
comes to my mind when thinking about this relation code. Um, you might want to think before starting doing this complicated relation thing. You might want to think, how are you going to display this within your actual site? How are going these relations to be shown? And yeah, that's a bit tricky, I think.
I don't believe for now there is a sustainable solution to show them, actually.
Me neither. I haven't seen one. And another mark is that I am not sure whether the relation code works within the authority list for now. I think I have tried it, but
Yeah.
we can try that later when we get to making our authority lists. Anyways, you can have relations. You just have to be very diligent when encoding them, not to get lost in additional information that won't be useful later on. Persons, places in TEI. So you can have a list of places, again, with additional information that might be this is very useful that because you might give exact geolocations, or you can link to an external gazetteer that gives again the exact location and or additional information about a certain place. So here you have place XML ID loc01. Don't name it that way. Name it Berenike. And then you have the actual place name. Again, you can have it in multiple languages. You can have the geolocation, and your site might be developed in a way to show this exact location on a map that is quite nice for the user to get a visual representation of otherwise quite abstract place names throughout the text, especially when dealing with ancient places, because, yeah, like the normal user probably doesn't know where Discudura Terre is. And yeah, this is the geolocation, and this is a link to an external gazetteer, to Pleiades, to be specific. We will speak about the external gazetteers, I think, in the next slide. Yep, exactly. So you can have the external reference here in your authority lists. And that is, I think, the recommended practice, because it mm, well, it keeps it away from your XML. It keeps your XML file of a monument simple and nice. But you can have it within the XML. If you think that you are going to meet us to find a settlement, to see a settlement within your corpus just once, then you probably would feel a bit reluctant to create a unique ID for this very place that is really not frequent, and you are not going to use it anymore. So in that case, you might choose to place the a reference to an external authority list within the XML itself. So this is the case shown here. ORIC place of origin, as in your template, with a attribute reference and a simple address pointing to the temple of Aphrodite in Aphrodisias. So this is probably the more simple way for encoding, but in long term, you probably might encounter some sort of confusion about all these references within an XML, especially if you make a minor mistake and you have to correct it. Yeah, you can even have the reference within the text itself. So this is when we describe the metadata, when we have the original place where the monument was erected. We are talking about the temple of Aphrodite. And here within the text, we have the same temple, no, not the same temple, but another place explicitly mentioned. And you can reference again to Pleiades and have this place pointed on a map. I think that at least in FS, when you have this reference, when you put this reference, that would automatically give clickability to this name, and you can just click on it and open the Pleiades page and see exactly where this Agrippine, sorry, actually is. But the better way is to have these references to gazetteers in an authority list if you are going to refer to these places more than once. So here we have another authority list of places with unique IDs. Title, Antiochia, Antiochia. City, Pleiades ID, again, the ID of Pleiades. Coordinates. You can have more than one reference to external gazetteer. You can have Google Maps, for instance, if you are if you have like the reference to this particular place on another site, then you can use this. Aphrodisias, type city, Pleiades, coordinates, and so on and so on. Hop. And this is Pleiades. Well, I'm going to show you the actual site. This is a screenshot that doesn't tell you much, but in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the site. And you will find much more information just scrolling around.
I have to say something.
Yep.
Bear in mind that probably, especially for our region, I know for Bulgaria for sure, and here are people who can confirm, but probably it holds true also for Serbia and Macedonia. Not each and every place that we do have is on Pleiades. We still have a lot of blank spaces on the maps of the Balkans. For example, the aforementioned Diskuduraterae. Yes, you will have Serdica, you will have Singidunum, you will have Skupi, you will have, I don't know, Philippopolis, Tobi, Naissus, etc. But Diskuduratere or a small Mansio along the Via Diagonalis somewhere between Niš and Sofia, you won't. in all probability you won't have. So this is up to us to fill the gaps actually in world gazetteers like that. And then, as Elina said, you can simply give the exact coordinates of the place that you have in mind. Especially if you can spot the exact archaeological site and the excavations, and in some instances, as we have been able to do, maybe the approximate find spot of the inscription within the general picture of the general plan of the excavations. We were able to do this with the inscriptions from the town of Mezdra, one of which you saw yesterday, this dedication to Demeter. We knew, and it was written in some of the articles that we used as sources for our publication, that this exact monument was found in the excavations on that part of the ancient Oppidum, which is situated in today's place in Mesdra, which is called Kaleto. Funnily enough, all the Roman Oppida are called Kale in Bulgaria, as well as in all of our countries with the Turkish word. So we were able to give very good representation of the actual find spot of the thing. And of course, the Kaleto in Mesdra doesn't have its, we don't even know what the name is, as far as I remember. In this case, we don't even know what the ancient name of the place was, if it was written down at all anywhere, as it happens with Roman Castella and Oppida from antiquity and from late antiquity. Sometimes even the name isn't known. Yes, this is the point I would like to make. But if you do an inscription of some of the major places, you're fair and square. And also do have in mind that, for example, for Aphrodisias, for Constantinople, for Rome, for Philippopolis, for Stobi, for Novae, for Viminatium, you will have a representative, as I told you yesterday, a representative point. There is some geographical point within the ancient place that is chosen as a representative point, which of course does not mean necessarily that your inscription was found exactly there. There is simply a point which was chosen as the symbolic center of this ancient place. This is what I was going to tell. Sorry for interruption.
But yeah, I think that in some cases it is not just a point, because, for instance, I have pointed to the province of Asia. So
Yeah.
the whole place, it's not a single point somewhere, but it is.
A polygon. Yeah, rather. It's a polygon.
Yeah, so and you see here the Aphrodisias, that it's not a dot on the map. It's like the whole place is circled around, but I don't know. Anyways, about Pleiades, there is a way to contribute and to notify them, to include, to gently urge them to include your additional smaller places that you have in your corpus, as long as you have the actual coordinates of an ancient city or settlement. So this is something we didn't do yet, but we have to. You can you do have contacts with Pleiades. I think there is a form in the site somewhere where you can give suggestions to add a new ancient place in their map. Their information, as far as I know, is based on the largest maps and
Mostly based on the Barrington Atlas of
Barrington,
ancient world.
yeah, on several, more than one, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, and they are quite open to receiving and adding new information, because obviously it isn't, the Barrington Atlas isn't like complete, giving all the information. External authority lists about persons, and this is a place where I will give the microphone to Mitko, or I can just just to give you this example, and then you will show the site by its how the site works, the LG.
I will show the LGPN, but they've changed actually their
Address.
not only their address, but the whole way they're operating, and we'll have to see how to link to them if needed.
Yeah, but first let's see an example on how to reference to an external authority list of persons. Here we have Diodotos Carneado. You treat it obviously as a person and enclose it in the tag person name, and then you use another person name. You can have person name within the person name, because technically there are two persons within this name, Diodotos and his father. So we distinguish them both as persons, and then we can reference to this lexicon of Greek personal names by just adding the above mentioned reference and the web address.
I have to look to see where
Probably
we
the
have.
address isn't the same right now, but anyways,
Yes, the address isn't the same right now, and I'm not sure if they still have stable URLs, stable URIs for names as such, or simply for the individual attestations, which does not work. But yes.
Yeah, so, and then you can refer make a second reference for his father. You can make that within the XML, but that will make your XML long and ugly. And you can reference it to the authority list called XML persons.xml hashtag the other dot one, the unique ID of Diodotos. And here, that is the way an item, a person, would be described in an authority list. So you have this XML ID that you're referring to in your XML, and you give the reference here. You can have the person name in regularized form. Of course, you should have the personal name in a regularized form, and you can have it again one more time in English and in Bulgarian, in whatever languages you are using for your project. And you can have some additional information about the relations of this particular person. Yep.
I can show you the LGPN right now if you wish, or
No,
after.
we should just let's finish this presentation, and we will show the Pleiades and then the LGPN and so on. And this actually is the last slide of the presentation. So I will just, of course, you will get the links as soon as we have a little bit of time to add them. First, I will show you the thing that I am familiar with and that works the same way for all these years. Let me just stop. This is the Pleiades, and it works pretty user-friendly with the ancient name, and I wanted to show you with our XML that we made yesterday. That was from the ancient Retiaria. And where is that? Here.
Yeah.
Oriclock XML Retiaria. And let's see if we can find Retiaria here. Yep. You just type in the search bar and you have it. You should check, especially if for places that yeah, and here it is the ancient place, the ancient city of Retiaria on the map. Different names can be found here. I'm not sure. I think it was until the 4th century AD, and I'm not sure. We have to check that, but you can find relatively up until the early Middle Ages, if the place changed its name, you will have all the names searchable here. So if Retiaria later was called something else, you still will be able to find it when you type it in here, the later name. Let's try with Nove. And you have...
Also make sure that you refer to the right place, because as you can see here, we have at least several. Actually, it's surprising for me.
No,
I would expect that for something like Alexandria, but for Novae, I didn't know that there's so much Novae around here.
I
So
think
you
that they will
make
coincide.
Sorry?
I think that they will be the same place more or less.
Okay, but you still have to refer to the right place, because sometimes they may have been, especially in the cases of provinces. If you want to refer to the province of Dacia, it was one thing in the 2nd century CE, and it was quite another thing. Actually, there were 2 different Dacias in the 3rd century and the first half of the 4th century AD. So sometimes you have, for example, for a general notion such as Thrace, Thracia. What is Thracia? There is the region of Thrace, the original ethno-cultural or geographical or whatever region of Thrace, as Herodotus might have referred to it. There's the province of Thrace in the times of the Roman Principate. There is also different traces from different periods. So sometimes even the same place can have different designations, and every place. This is the thing with authority lists, be it gazetteers or other types of authority lists. The gazetteer is basically an authority list plus georeferences. The other authority lists might not have geographical information to them. It's the geographical information that makes something to become a gazetteer in the strict sense of the word. So the question about them is that first, all of them have a stable, first all of them have a unique identifier called URI. And secondly, every URI is a stable web address, as you see here above in the address bar. It's not a PHP type of thing. It does not have a dynamic web address containing a lot of, I don't know, question marks and equal signs and things like that. If you get a link that's like 2 lines long, filled with strange characters, this is not the stable URI that you want to have. And this, if you don't copy from the address bar, here you have this that Elina is now pointing to. Yeah, you can copy to the clipboard the canonical URI for this page, and the good thing that the authority files and the gazetteers are doing is that they disambiguate between places that might have the same or similar names.
Yeah, I have just opened the 3 locations, and they are quite obviously different. And if you do not pay attention, you might link to a different place. So yeah, keep that in mind. And yeah, as I said, there are places that are simply not there. So in that case, ideally, you just have some sort of representative coordinates that you can give in your list, or you can think of another way of just pointing the specific place to in order to disambiguate what are you talking about. What else can I say about Pleiades?
Yeah. It's part of
Um,
You can,
you can contribute to Pleiades,
I'll be
filling
actually
some
glad
sort of
to.
forms. So you should, if you can give the precise information needed, you should do that in order to enrich the site and to make it more useful. And I will give the next interesting gazetteer that links to geographical places would be geonames. Geonames is used for modern names of cities, modern locations. Geonames again has a very useful search bar, and in our case they have different spellings and different scripts that is very useful. Let's try. I think I have tried it with Q Standil, but no.
Maybe, yeah, maybe with Y.
Yeah, the thing is that normally they give more than
Yes.
one way of typing the thing.
Yeah, here you
And
can see
here you have,
and
and
yeah.
this ideally, all these variants, sorry. Here. And the different names, no, they're not displayed here. But you see that you have more than one.
The thing is, however name is spelled or called, you can have this name Kustendil here, even in Arabic or Hebrew or Chinese script, or I don't know. The thing is that no matter how it is spelled, no matter in which language, which script, etc., it refers to one and the same thing. So Kustendil with I, Kustendil with Y, Kustendil with C, Kustendil in Arabic, it all refers to the same thing.
Yeah, you can search
This is
in.
why it's very handy to have authority references. Yeah, if you spell it in Cyrillic, it will also give you the same thing.
Yep. This is very useful when you deal with places that you are, for instance, villages in Bulgaria have sometimes changed names, and GeoName, luckily, still has the old names that are before the 50s or something, and might point to the village if you use the old name and not the new one. That is something very useful as well. But I cannot give you an example about this for now. I just cannot think of a good example. So again, with the QStand, first you check whether you are seeing the place. Then it has a unique ID and a permanent link to this location. You copy the link to the location without additional symbols in the URL, and you link it in your authority list. That's on GeoNames, or in your XML if you don't want to have an authority list for your project. Of course, you can make this decision. What else do we have here? Eagle, Prosopografia, and Mitko.
Yes. Okay, do you want me to show something?
Or I can show you a small sneak peek in our site to see how an authority list on places looks like. And then we can proceed to the personal names that are a little bit complex. I don't know. Or we can just go through the sites and then make the see the actual authority lists. It's up to you. I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't know, let's see authority lists maybe.
Okay, so the
And
authority
to think about what kind of exercise we can make on this, probably show some authority lists, download the authority list from some of our mirrors, and then make the references to the inscriptions that we have already encoded.
Yep. There are, as I told you, there are two ways to point to a specific place. Now we will deal with our favorite inscription from Archar. And here we will, first I will show you briefly how to embed the reference to Archar in GeoNames and the ancient place of Razialia in Pleiades within the XML itself. Here we have in the history of the monument, just move it. We have Raziaria. Yesterday we filled this information that we're speaking about Raziaria. So here we can just give the reference to Raziaria in Pleiades. Pardon me, wrong alphabet. You can use this or you can just copy the canonical URI, and that is recommended. You didn't see me do that. Don't do like me. And now we just paste it here, and now we have the link to the coordinates of the place. That is one way to do it. And the other way, no, this is not on. Can you send me on mirror of the site, please?
Okay,
Or just tell me how it ended.
I will right now
Uh,
copy.
Found it. Okay, so here you haven't used that yet, but we have made mirrors of our actual site for teaching purposes, and I automatically log in the admin page, and username is admin, and the password is pretty obvious. You will do exactly the same tomorrow, and you can do it now if you want. No, I won't say this password. And here in the XML area, we have an authority folder. And the authority folder contains all the authority lists that we have made for our project. In our case, it's bibliography, document type, find spot. This one doesn't work. Find spot, list divine, list emperors, list officials, list persons, list places, material, museums, objects, onomastic list, and original location. Origlog XML is the thing that we are going to show you now and to use now. So I'm going to download it and open it. And this is our actual list. It is filled with mistakes because for some reason TI doesn't agree with having location here. Because it is within the play address. Anyways, we ignore these mistakes.
You see that there are many instances we cannot link with to Pleiades. We have linked to whatever we were able to find as some external source.
How to make a new ID and a new place. So I will copy just the first one, the whole place. I'll just copy it, paste it, and now it starts complaining that the Bonamanzio ID already exists. So the IDs are unique. You cannot have more than one with the same ID. And I'm going to call this Ratiaria. This is the ID we are going to put in our XML in just 1 second. Then we have place name, language, English. We will and then we have place name, language, Bulgarian. And then we have Wikipedia. I don't know. That's some sort of example again for teaching purposes that Bonomancio. That's why it stands like that. Then we have node type, identification number type, Pleiades. And here we will give the canonical URI for the place. And by doing so, we have defined the place Ratialia as unique, and we can refer to it in every single XML that contains the same place as find spot. We hit save here, and we will open the inscription. And here you see this oriclog.xml. First, we will refer to the XML itself. And then we refer to the unique ID after the hash. We will just write the ID we gave to our place, Ratiaria. And that's it. That is our job here. We have the link to our place, and the place itself has coordinates and link to Pleiades. Now, has link to Pleiades, but you can add coordinates as well, and you can add additional information. Even if you want, you can have like some historical passage if you want to say the city of Ratiaria flourished throughout these centuries and so on and so on. You can have this type of information here. You are not limited, and you don't aim for brevity in the authority list. Okay, so yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, and you can make the same thing for the find spot. I think I showed you here that our XML for modern locations is called findsp. We will download it as well. And I will open it. Oh. Here it is. Again, a lot of mistakes because we have this location with coordinates that the schema isn't okay with, but we just ignore it. And let's just copy this entity, paste it, and change the name of the ID. Archar is our place. In English, it is Archar as well, the modern village of Archar. And we saw it, no, we didn't saw it in geonames. Here it is the populated place of Archar.
In the meanwhile, I saw the new site where you can link for the canonical form of the Greek personal names, but it's LGPN link.
I will just do this Archar thing.
The site is not working.
Oh, yep. So yeah, we placed the address, the web address here within the identification number type geonames, and I will just now copy the exact coordinates and place them under location. And by hitting save, we now have the place archer saved in our authority list, and we can safely link to it in our XML. Place name type found, reference find spot.xml, hashtag.
This is the name of the file to which it goes and looks, and after the hashtag, it has to find the exact XML ID value.
And yep, here we have the ID of Archer. And now both our places are referenced to our respective authority lists, one containing the original locations, the ancient places, and the other containing the modern locations. Well, for the sake of our representation within the site and within the mirror sites, we will keep these locations. But otherwise, I don't know if you want your XML to be nicely green, we should just remove them. I don't know which would be best for you. But there's not much things that can go wrong within the authority list. You don't encode much here. You just copy and replace the information within the tags. Nothing more. And to be sure that you're doing it without accidentally missing something, use the triple click in order to have the whole entity in blue, and just copy it using control copy or whatever. Yeah, so that was it from me briefly on locations. Mitko, you can make the same thing about the persons or the prosopografia imperii Romani. Does it work?
It works, but it gives
A completely
partial reference.
So just for the material and the ego vocabularies. Probably. I don't know. But or we can leave the external gazetteers for now and just you can just briefly show them and we will continue with our authority list. I don't know.
Okay. Do we have a file which has things which are not referenced in the file that we've been encoding so far?
Yeah, sure.
Descriptions themselves.
Here the whole file contains.
Oh, this is referenced.
No, it's not. It has just.
Okay, so we can do this.
We have just Retiaria chart that we just did, and then we
have personal names.
personal names. What else do we have? We have no, just personal names. We don't have something interesting else. Interesting.
Okay.
Personal names is more than enough. I will show. I will send you. I will send the document. I will stop sharing and I will send you the document.
Okay, do we have any sort of
Oh yeah,
questions?
you should probably ask about questions for the previous session with the metadata.
And also from what we've had so far now. If not, then I will share my screen. Okay, now you probably see my screen, and I'm now going to, this is a sneak peek in the, oops. Why is this so? I'll try another one. Yes, here we are now. Here we are. Oops, sorry. Something's happening. Oh, if you've opened your mirror sites, please do have in mind that probably it's a good thing not to also have your main Telemon or Tituli site open. We'll now try with another browser. Bear with me for a second. Elina, can you give me the web address, the URL? grcepiston.net is the one, I think. Okay, here we are. As you can see, we're here and we will now see different types of authority. This is the document type, which contains different elements, different types of documents that we have. This is the material, which we'll also use, and this is the onomastic. that will also use. Whenever they are downloaded, I will open them and show you how do we refer. And you can, in the meanwhile, you can also download these files yourself. Do you need? Okay. Do you need to have the URL where you can download all this? I'll probably put it in the chat. There are several, as Elina told you, mirror sites for our Telemon collection. This is one of them. This is GRC Epistone info. You can also put GRC1, GRC2, GRC3 after the GRC part in the address. They are different mirrors. I think we have around 6 now. So you can, in order not to overload one site, probably you can use different ones to access. If you go to the bottom of your screen, for example, okay, let me see why it's not. Okay, GRC Epistom, because it's info, it's not net. You go to the bottom of the screen, as Elina told you, you log in, and when you log in, you will be redirected to the admin part. The admin part contains 2 things, and our colleague Christian Simeonov will be talking about this to you in this afternoon. You want to see the XML part, which contains the XML files, and you will have authority, EpiDoc, config, and sandbox. You don't need to deal with those right now, but you can download the material, the document type, and probably the onomastic. You can see all of them. We also have list of divinities, and then try to first let's see what's in them. The material one contains information about the different types of materials that we have, and in this case, for instance, we have chosen to XML ID them by the first letter of the word itself. Again, this is something which could be done this way, could be done another way. You can the easiest way actually to do it is to put the XML IDs with the whole words. In order to remember them easier. I don't know why we have chosen this way. You can give whatever XML ID you want to your items in the authority list. It could be XML ID which reads like ABC 0001 any alphanumeric value goes here, but of course it's preferable to give XML IDs that you could then easily remember without having to refer to all of your things without having to go back and forth between the authority list and the monument itself. So what do we have here? This is a limestone stele. I hope you're seeing well the screen here. So we have in the physical description, object description, support, we have the material. And of course, we have, as you will have too, material designated in two different languages. One is the English with XML lang N, and the other one, in our case, we have the Bulgarian designation to it. And here you have two strings. Limestone in English. In Bulgarian, this is called varovik. But this is for the external display on the site. Then when you go to the actual site, it will give you, for example, varovik as a designation here. Under material. This is why you need to have this string here. But another thing is that you want, okay, I will unshare my screen and I will share. Now you should be able to see, do you see how I am switching between screens? If yes, please. Yes, okay. So here, this string, which you have encoded under material in English and in our native languages, this is what you will have here visualized like this on the site. But if you go to the home page and, for example, you want the inscriptions that you have to be indexed. We don't have index of materials, but we do have indices of other types of things, or to be filtered by a material. Show me all the inscriptions that are made on limestone, which are the predominant part of the inscriptions that we have now in Tituli, or show me the single inscription in our collection so far, which was executed in marble. You need to reference this to the authority list, and the reference to the specific ID in the authority list actually takes care to gather under one filter or under one index all the instances of monuments that we have referenced in this part of our code as referring to the material XML authority file, and after the hashtag to exactly this XML ID, which is L for limestone. And now I have referenced this in such a way so far. You only need to do the reference once. So we have chosen to do this in our first element, which bears the respective information. You can have your material element repeated as many times as you wish, depending on the quantity of languages that you want to incorporate in your corpus, but you don't need to put the ref attribute more than once. And here it appears only once, and of course it references the whole of your monument to this tag. What else did we have here? Okay, document type and object type. Let me see where the object type is. So these authority lists live here in the authority folder. And here, as you can see, by the way, here you have the images, which you will point to in the facsimile part of your code. But now we're dealing with this. Now let me see if things are downloaded here. Okay, do it yourself also to see if it works. It should work. And once your object type is done and your document type is done, we can refer to them too. But as far as I can see here, we already have the onomastic list. In the onomastic list, we have XML IDs to all the names that we have in our collection. As you can see in our case, because this was originally the onomastic list that we produced for the sake of the Telemon project. We also have the spelling of the name, the regularized spelling of the name in Greek. So you can have here not only 2 languages, but as many languages as you wish. We also have the name in English spelling, which is, as you know, effectively the way it would be spelled in Latin. So Calandion is Calandio in Latin and thence in English, and Calandion in the Bulgarian transliteration of the name. Here I see that it is repeated 2 times, which probably is a mistake on our part. We only need once the name, but yes, you can do changes to your authority lists on the go. And yes, we also have certain names that we are not sure how to accentuate in the original language. As you can see here, we're using different language code for the Greek, because we want here, if you perchance want to have ancient Greek names, ancient Greek, in contrast to modern Greek, which has a different language code, only has a triliteral language code and no biliteral, with 2 letters as with English and Bulgarian, and it is called GRC. And you can have, of course, language codes. You can actually check them if you wish. There are several types of language codes. ISO 639 is the standard of the language code, and you have 639.2. Hope you're seeing this. And 639.1, and the one is triliteral and the other one is biliteral. And you have usually the ancient languages and the extinct languages, the historical languages, only have triliteral codes. So as you can see here, you all have language codes for also for languages such as Akkadian and everything. You should have all the indigenous languages of the Balkan Peninsula. Is there Illyrian? No, but there is Thracian, as far as I see. No. Oops. There should be, actually. So if you can encode also the names in the indigenous languages of the Balkan Peninsula, as you wish. There was Thracian somewhere. Okay, I will give you a reference to another language list because I'm sure that we have done this. But if you're not sure what the language codes are, you can, yes, maybe it's in ISO 3. There is one. If you want to know the language codes to your specific language, search for ISO language codes and you will have the tables. I will find some suitable tables that you can use and I will give your reference to them as a link. But yes, we can now try to see what we can do with our name here. So we have personal names.
I'm not sure. Yep, I'm sorry. Just a
Yeah,
quick
yeah,
mention. I'm
yeah.
not sure whether you say that names can be also very useful for regularizing names when they are inscribed on the stone in a slightly different way.
Yes, yes. This is
So
this is
this
true.
is very popular name. If you have it in 5 different ways throughout your corpus, written in different with different letters, once you point to the main, I have references to all these weird writings, but still the user will know that this is the name. Code is just written slightly different.
Okay, so now I would want to insert a person here, which is called Gaius. And yes, it is Guy. It is Gaius, but it can also be spelled with G. So why not put this information here? And in the Greek inscriptions, the form of the name will be Gaios. So let's save this here. We have an XML ID. So now, well, you may want to refer to all the 3 names separately, and then you can refer to the person as a whole. Let me see how this would work. So we have onom XML here. We should not. Oops. Sorry. And let me see Gaius. Okay. Now we'll do the same with This is the first name, so this is where the second name starts, the Cassius. You can try and repeat after me what I'm doing.
Mitko, again, I'm not sure that you can double, you can have two different first names in English.
Okay, I'm giving this just for the sake of argument. Probably in our case,
Yeah.
only one would be visualized, but it's not a mistake.
Yeah, the
You can
visualization would.
give variants to the names whatever times you wish. If you have variants of the names in one and the same language, and I'm not talking here about mistaken spellings and things like that. If you simply have different forms of the names, as in Latin, you can have this name spelled with C and with G. You can give them in your onomastic list if you want to have all the different variations, spelling variations of one and the same name. You can have this information in your authority list. Probably it will be only one that you would be visualized, if the visualization will affect this at all. But yes, I'm giving this just for the sake of the example. As for example, in Bulgarian, you can have names such as Tsanyu, Mityu, and I don't know what, spelled with you and with your, and these are variants of one and the same name. This kind of authority list give some sort of space for variations, especially when it comes to onomastics. If we go back to our material and object type and document types, you have to be slightly more consistent than that. You should use only one nomination for one of the object and the material types. But here you can have make some allowance for. So this is Cassios. Okay, we don't need this here. Cassi, we have this. And now we want to refer let us see what XML ID we gave it. Yes. This is the second name. Yes, we can also give here prenomen, gentilicium, cognomen, etc. if you wish, as we already discussed. And we should have the name Felix. So in this way, you will have onomastic list that, well, I'm not sure how to spell it in Greek because I don't know by heart the length of the A vowel. It could be Felix with epsilon, I believe. Where is my C? Okay. Ref, okay. Here, of course. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now we have referred to all the parts of this thing. What this gives us is a certain type of flexibility because, as you will see here, we have, okay, in English, we have personal names and we have attested persons which are different. They're a different authority list. We have, for example, under the what we have done here, we have referenced to the authority list, which is the onomastic authority list, and not the prosopographical one. We want to distinguish between both. Here we have reference to all the attested persons in our documents that have the somewhere in their name, however complex it might be, it might consist of 2 parts, sometimes of 3 or even 4 parts, together with the patronym in the Greek manner. And here, in this way, you can have a list of all the people which bear the same gentilicium, which could be useful for your purposes, because we see that here in our Telemop collection, in the circa 70 inscriptions that we have until now, we have several people which bear the Roman gentilicium Elios or Aelios. In Greek transliteration, we have an Aelios Dokimus, we have an Aelios Iulius, we have an Aelios, not 100% sure if we have to reconstruct the name in this way, Aelios Proclus, but if it is so, he is Aelios Proclus. And we have an Aurelius Apollonides, who was a son of somebody called Aelius Valens, probably. So we have all the Eli in one place, and they can be probably, if we have them all at once, and if we go to and from all the inscriptions in which they are attested, we have at least 2 of them attested in one and the same monument. We can see the relationships between them, if any. We can explore how many people bearing the same gentilicium were present in one and the same province at the same time, which can give us some information about the granting of Roman citizenship to provincials, because as you know, especially before the beginning of the 3rd century CE, what we had in the Roman provincial nomenclature, especially among people who were not native Romans, they were Thracians, or they were Greeks, or they were Illyrians, or whatnot. People bearing one and the same gentilicium could point to one and the same campaign of giving local provincials Roman citizenship, which, as you know, took the form of adoption. And in the process of adoption, the adopted persons who were given granted Roman citizenship assumed the gentilicium of the person that adopted them. In the predominant cases, this would be the Roman emperor. So these are families that were granted Roman citizenship sometime in the second century, in between the reigns of Trajan, Hadrian, or Antoninus Pius. This dynasty of Roman emperors that could bear the Gentilicium of Aili. So yes, this is reference to all the different parts of the name one by one, and they show as different parts of the name one by one, but we also have a list of persons that we have here, and we can then list to, yes, we have it. We can then have a reference to the whole historical person. As you can see here, okay, this is actually a taxonomy of the professions that comes first in our type of list. But as you can see here, we have a whole person together with their patronyms and together with all the parts, separate parts of their names. You see here Greek name, or at least a person which whose names were Greek, together with his patronyms. In some, yeah, these are commented out because we still want to see what we will do with them. But you can also have persons together with the whole of their names, and yeah, this is what Elina showed you. Please don't do like us. We started doing like this, and now we're struggling with keeping up with these XML IDs. 80006 refers to attested person number 6 in our corpus, but if you choose to give them some more human readable names, this will be good. So here we have a historical person. Here we have a prosopographical reference, as opposed to the onomastic reference, which we gave to all the three components of the name separately. There, as you see them here, you will have reference in your onomastic index to all the persons which were called Gaius in your monuments, all the persons which were called Cassius, including this one, but you can also have, for example, somebody called Marcus Cassius Celer, which has nothing to do with this one, or a very peripheral connection. And here you will have also in your onomastic list, in the list of names, all the person with the cognomen Felix, Gaius Cassius Felix, Marcus Sulpius Felix, and etc., etc. But here in your list pers, you can give a reference to this particular person bearing this particular combination of names, and you will count him.
Oh, the no spaces within the ID.
Okay. You will count him as one and the same person with the whole of his names and the whole of his titles or occupations or everything else which was mentioned about him in the respective monument. Here we don't have anything, but at least we have a combination of name which is enough for giving this particular person an individuation. So we can consider him one person. Usually what we count as a legitimate historical person is somebody about whom somebody has something else than his personal name has been said. Ideally, you will have here also a mention of some sort of occupation or titles or official nomenclature, such as a guy here in our inscription who was called Archiereus di Hoplon, which was a specific title in the province of Thrace, archpriest of the imperial cult, which organizes gladiatorial games. And we have exactly one person who bears this title in our monuments and who bears the same name. So in case you want to distinguish between people who are called the same, it will be good if they have titles or occupations mentioned in the monument, but if not, you can give them just the names here. But here we have Gaius Cassius Felix. Here we have, okay, we can give his name also in Greek if we are dealing with monuments which have attested persons. And now we can refer to him where we have given the references to the separate names here, but you can give the reference to the whole person here. In this way, he will appear simultaneously in several of our lists. Okay. And this is the reference to the list purse. Another list of ours. Yeah, you see now that when I know that that I've given this ID exactly as the person is called, I will not have to look up to check if it's like this in my authority list. So this helps enormously. Now I think we can go back to our document type and object type. Yeah, here we reference the material. Here we will reference the object type. This is a stele or stela. In Bulgarian, this is a limestone stele, and we refer to the limestone, the material authority list in order to list this under all the monuments made by limestone and to be able to filter it like this. Now we will give the opportunity for this monument to be listed or filtered under all the monuments that are stelae. Let me see where my object list is. Yeah, you should have a very good classification of the objects, the different objects that can be bearers of an epigraphic text. You can, of course, use the list that we have, but you might want to add things to it. What we have until now is that we have a statue base that we decided to give the name of postament in Bulgaria. We have small votive plates, which have decided to call plates. There are several other vocabulary items which you can refer here, and I will show you after a while. We have columns, we have sarcophagus, we have altar, we have slab, which is something slightly bigger. We have statue, statuette, stele, epistyle or architrav, as it is called in Bulgarian, as an architectural element, or we have simply a block of things you can add to this object list. But in our case, we have what we need already listed here.
Yeah, just a quick note about that as well. The convenient thing about having authority lists in XML is that once you have the need to add something, you simply add it.
Yeah, you don't need to be exhaustive from the beginning.
So, yeah, you don't have to make a complete list at the beginning of the project and freak out every time you encounter something you didn't think beforehand that you would see. The authority lists are not locked within a format, and you constantly add entities to them, and when you enlarge your collection. So don't try to fill all the possible materials or all the possible bearing objects. Just do it along the process. It will be much easier, and yeah, well, the only thing about this adding in the working process probably is that you have to have very good the team communication. Otherwise, you may double information within the authority lists,
Yeah,
especially.
as you see, we have done this. Probably
Yeah.
2 people have entered the entry for Calandion. I hope that we have referenced this only once, but yes, you can always go back and clear it. Yes, no, sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, that was exactly my point, and especially with persons and personal names, because sometimes you just give an ID that isn't intuitive enough, and you may confuse the other people working on your project. So uh, it is a great plus that you enlarge your authority lists working on your corpus, and you don't have to have them beforehand. But the minus is that you have to be very diligent in adding new information in a way that it won't copy something already existing. That was the thing I wanted to say. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Mitko.
Yeah, of course. But yes, in addition to what you just said, at the beginning of our Telemon project, we did exactly the opposite, but I think that we're good now. Together with Professor Mirena Slavova and Dr. Nikolai Sharankov, they have done before this a really exhaustive list of document types that we have. You don't need to do this, and probably it helps if you don't do it from the beginning, because you probably would be paralyzed by the different decisions that you will have to take without knowing if they will be suitable to your material or not. But we have done this for our document type, and we ended up with a pretty exhaustive list of document type, something like 20 items here. Decrees of cities, laws, letters of Roman emperors, document of the provincial governments, treaties, contracts, wills, manumissions, donations, honorary inscriptions, in prose or in verse. 4 different types of persons. We have honorary inscriptions for kings, emperors, Roman officials, in verse and in prose, respectively. Honorary officials for local magistrates and priests, in verse and in prose, respectively. Honorary inscriptions for soldiers of the Roman army, in verse and in prose, respectively. All the other honorary inscriptions for different types of people which might be honored in some way for private persons, in prose and in verse. Or dedications, private and public dedications, in prose and in verse. So we have 4 categories for dedicatory inscriptions themselves. Funerary inscriptions in prose and verse. building inscriptions, boundary markers, fortifications, inscriptions on the seats and elsewhere in public buildings such as theaters, amphitheaters, audience, stadium seats, mosaics, amphora stamps, inscriptions on bricks or tiles, graffitos or dipinti, stonemasons' marks, signatures of artisans, weights and measures, inscriptions on metals, on gems, cult inscriptions for festivals and games, magical inscriptions, oracles in proverbs, sacred laws, different catalogs of ephebes of the polices, of settlers. We have catalogs when establishing a settlement. We have catalogs of the first settlers, catalogs of priests and magistrates, of religious associations, all other types of catalogs, acclamations of ephebes of emperors, of deities, and others. And this is a very exhaustive list in which now we will try to find the place of our inscription of these people. Okay, what about our inscription? As you saw, this is in MS Desk after MS Identifier. The second thing that you have here is MS Contents, which has a summary, and inside the summary two segments, which are executed in Bulgarian and in English respectively. And we have here what is funerary inscription prose. We have whatever was this called in Bulgarian, not groben natpis, prosa, okay. This is in order to be displayed here. The string in natural language is because we want to have this displayed here, but in order for it to be listed in our indices and in our filters, we need to refer to this in our document type thing. Here I have downloaded, we have something that you have to pay attention to. Now I'll give the reference just for the sake of the example, but I want you to bear in mind that here I have downloaded the document type file 2 times by mistake because I didn't see it downloading the first time. And here we end up with a different file name. Now I have document type 1, but you want to refer to the exact file that you have that lives here. You give the exact name of the file that lives in your authority files subfolder in your XML file folder in the front end that you'll be using. It's the same in Ajax, as you will see, and that probably you're already seeing the online distributions of Ajax. It is already in the same in all the other ones. In FS, it has in this XML part, it has similar architecture. You usually have all the XML files, authority, and EpiDoc folder, which is for your individual inscriptions, and they refer to each other. In each of these files, you have references to each of these files, depending on your, and you also have the images in another folder, and you store your image files here, and you reference to them in another part of your monument. So here you must refer to precisely the file which is called document type XML. And what do we have here? So we're searching for funerary inscription prose. Okay, where it is. Okay, here we also gave file names of XML IDs, which are gibberish, but I'll simply copy this, document type XML, and there you go. So now you have almost all of the references to authority lists that you will need. Yes, you have the ORIG log, you have the find spot, you have the document type, the object type, the prosopographical reference, the onomastic reference. What about the name of the this person's wife? That can you here tell me what to do, or we should leave it up to you to repeat what I just did with Caius Cassius Felix? What do you think? Okay, so we need to, in our onom list, we also need to fill in the items for the names of this girl, Cassia Lacaina, Lacena, and also put the name Cassia Lacena in the list purse index. Should I leave it up to you to do it by yourself, or should you tell me what to do and I will repeat after you? So what do we need to do first here? Okay, we can start with whatever we wish, with the onomastic or with the person. Anybody? Okay. I'm doing this, but I strongly suggest that you do the same as me. We don't need the occupation here because we really don't know what this person did for a living. And we have an XML ID in our list purse thing. We don't forget to save it. And what we do here, okay, in the personal name, in the purse name, we refer to the person. Yes, now it's better. And now we do the same for the separate names. So we go to the onomastic list. Why? Okay. Will not. Okay, just for the sake of the example, I'll give here the Greek rendition of the name, but we don't need to do this if you're working on, of course, Roman material. see, yeah. So here we go back then to our monument and we reference this name for the onomastic list. Oops. And here we have, okay, here we have something that we haven't done so far, all the abbreviations, but still. What else do we have? We have several other names that we have not encoded so far.
But if you want, we can just show like our Telamon or Tituli site to see the actual use of authority lists, how they look in lists. And
Okay, I will
so yeah,
sharing my
that's
screen now.
repetitive. That's a bit repetitive. There are yeah, for now we are showing you the things that we did. Do not think that that is the only thing you can do. It depends on the project, and basically you can encode almost anything, any type of information within the authority lists. And the only thing you have to think beforehand is about the visualization method that you are going to use in order to display this information on your site. In our case, we have added some things that I know for sure that cannot be visualized in FS, but anyways, in every single project, the visualization is separated, but has to be taken in mind beforehand once you start to encode something, because actually that's why we are doing this exhaustive work. We want to display it somehow and to point that information out in a way. And now I'm going to share a screen as soon as I find that.
Okay, you want to take this, or I can show in the meanwhile, and I will leave the final part to you to show via Wikidata Prosopografii Imperiei Romani. Did you do so?
The Wikidata?
Yeah.
I would leave that to you.
Okay, just for yes, several other things for the sake of completeness. And then I will leave it to Elina to show you how it looks on our sites and why this is important. Here is the lexicon of Greek personal names, which with its new site, with a searchable database that works with Greek Unicode, and I will show you now. But yeah, it was different before that. Now they have a new site, and it's a bit confusing. But let's say, for example, what is the name that you will say? Okay, they have given a string here, so I don't have to copy. But if you write it down using the Unicode Greek, it should work. It's very useful because you have all the instances of the name Alexandra, for example, here And all the individual references, which you can see there, 161, they are listed, they are ID'd separately. So this can serve to you as an ID of each and every occurrence of a name. But thing is, this is why I told you that we started doing it differently because before that, you could also have an ID of the name as such. This now is done by another side project, which is called LGPN Link. I'm gonna search for this. You have on the major LGPN site, you have information about this, and they have a project website, which I will also list in the list of references, which is lgbl-link.humanium.fr, but currently it is down. You are supposed, as I'm told by the LGPL link staff, you are supposed to link to the canonical form of the name itself and not of the separate occurrences of the name within the epigraphical database of LGPN. You will be able to assign separate IDs to the name as such in your database, and then go back to LGPN and say, okay, list also this occurrence of the name Alexandra or Cassius or whatever we have in your database. But currently the LGPL link site is not working, so we're not able to do this, but ideally you will probably be able to do this as a reference in your onomastic list. Here you can give, for example, you should be able to give a ref element or the, okay, whatever we had for persons and emperors and like that. Let me see. Yeah, wait, where do we have this? In the list emperors, we do have this, I think. So you can, in your authority list, you can refer, okay, this was done with IDNO. Okay, now I see. So here in list persons, you can refer to a person with IDNO, which stands for identity number, and you can give type to it. And you can refer to it in various ways. For example, you have VIAF here. VIAF stands for, this is one of the most exotic, stands for Virtual Internet Authority, International Authority File, and all your emperors and all your historical figures which are prominent, you can find here, for example. And you can link to VIAF, and you can have a stable URI which links to this person, and here you see information in many different languages taken from many different databases, together with his literary works and the literary works and the catalog references from them in all the world libraries that have online catalogs, etc., etc. So it could be very handy to link also to an external authority like this. And we can give the reference. Okay, this is not the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, but we can give a reference here. The same thing you can do with Wikidata, which is also a very exhaustive and very not in Wikipedia, but in Wikidata. Yeah. Here, wikidata.org. And you have a unique reference, which is, this is Wikidata Q1430. They all have IDs like this, and you can also refer to them. So this IDNO can be or you can refer to the Prosopographia Imperii Romani. But in the Prosopographia Imperii Romani, you don't have more than a partial information. Aurelius, of course. Why not? Okay, let's try with something easier.
I think you're just typing in the wrong place. This
Yeah.
something PR reference.
Yes. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on, but ideally you should be able to refer not by link, but you will be given a Prosopographia Imperii Romani ID number. It will be PIR 1.33.0 or something like that. And you can also refer to it here as IDNO type PIR if you wish so. For the time being, I don't know what's going on with the search, but you can try it yourself. And these are all external authorities that I'm gonna also link to you. And
Yeah,
yes, well, whenever this one is working, you will be able to refer to this with this IDNO type here to the canonical form of the name. Also, this is what I wanted to share with you. Okay.
Okay, so a little bit as I promised, I will share my screen and I will show you the way our sites display all this information that we encoded so far. And then I will add a quick note on our encoding for something not too obvious that we didn't mention so far. So yeah, here is our Telamon site. Let's view it in English, as this is the official language, and here are the indices. We have list of museums that are also in authority lists, so that you can see all the museums that contain part of our corpus, a digital corpus. You have the lemmata, and this is interesting because the lemma, all the lemmas are extracted not from an authority list, otherwise it would be like too much work to refer to every single lemma, to refer to an external authority list and to have an entity for every single word. The lemmas actually are extracted from the XML itself, and that's why we lemmatized, if you remember, our inscription. So here, all this V-type lemma, this part, this attribute value is the one that is indexed here and is displayed in this way with reference to all the monuments that have the word agathos or agaoma and so on and so on. Again, this might be useful for some sort of research. Different forms are displayed here as well. The different forms, on another hand, are taken from the attribute, from the prose text within the element itself. So this is something, this list of lemmata is something more peculiar. It doesn't work with authority list. It works with the XML itself. What else do we have? We have abbreviations, again extracted from the XML. Yeah, lot of them. Not that much compared to the Latin, but still a lot of them. Emperors. And this is an example of some additional information we have included in our list of emperors. We have a Floroid section, and I will show you how it is encoded. Just let me download the list emperor. Or I can show you just here. Yeah. So here is the very simple Floroid tag that we used for displaying the years of the emperor's reign. And we have included that information as a visualization in the XML. Attested persons, another interesting thing. Oh, let's see the attested persons. My internet is a little bit slow, but still, yeah, works. I hope you can hear me well. For the persons, for the attested persons, we have a section called occupation. You probably saw what the authority list that Mitko filled with our new persons, and they had an occupation in code that is a little bit more complex, but it can be done with less effort or without this short. Where's the? No, I don't have it. Mitko has it. So our code for occupation is a bit complex. It doesn't matter. So just keep in mind that you can simplify it. We have kept it that way because we were far too progressed in our work, and it would take a lot of time to correct the things we have already done. So here we have the names in Greek, the occupation, and the reference to the monument where they are mentioned. Again, we have a Floroid section, but it is not complete because usually we don't have the exact dates. At least on this page, we don't have the exact dates of their lives. What else? Personal names. Yeah, personal names with references. Each one of these names refers to a single XML file. Officials, again with occupation, and this list is quite interesting. Here we have some very, I don't know, interesting professions, or in that case, it's not a profession, it's in an occupation in a cult, as far as I remember.
This is a religious title of a
Yeah.
member of the religious society Lichnaptria, which must be something of lighter of lamps or something like this. But we listed all these individuals as some sort of officials because they have a certain role in the respective societies, in the respective collectives of which they were part. And you see here with all of them, all of their names. I mean, if you go to the name list, Claudianos is a simple name, but Aurelius Claudianos, who is an archigalaros to some religious society, is already an individual. So there is a overlapping zone between onomastics and prosopography that we have tried to cover at once. This might not be the only possible solution, but it is a solution which works quite well for our project until now.
Yeah, and this is another list that probably is interesting.
Oh yes, oh yes.
This
How to
is
deal with the local deities or some other not necessarily local deities from imported from Phrygia, Egypt, and I don't know where, who were associated partly or wholly with some Greco-Roman deity. And what do we do with the Greco-Roman deities itself? Which exists in at least several separate forms, because Zeus is not at all times and in all occasions to be considered as absolutely equivalent to Jupiter, because they can be very distinct Greek and Roman rites. Rituals, rites as in rituals, in which these deities are worshipped. We have a lot of instances when there is a remark, Graeco ritu colitur. It is an object of cult in the Greek manner. So yes, here we have this, as you can see, additional columns here. But yeah, Elina, sorry to interrupt you. You can probably say more about that.
no. That's you're saying exactly what I had in mind. So here we have this column that states just "see also," because Kendrisenos or Kendrisos can be linked to Apollo, but is not necessary the same thing as Apollo. So it is in the code. I have downloaded the code. In the code, you have this Sgulamenos, same as Apollo, because the code language uses same as. But in the site, we actually don't say he is Sgulamenos is Apollo. We say see also Apollo. It might be linked to Apollo, the Roman god. So the Greek god, sorry. And what else? Divine mentioned places, fairly small list. surprisingly big list of, places mentioned within the text. Sometimes with its location, but sometimes without, because Argebadon obviously is not a place with exact coordinates, or we didn't know the exact coordinates. Some of them are probably just, yeah, something we have to add. But anyways, these are the places mentioned within the text, and here you can see. Just let me show you. Here you can see that we have actually 3 authority lists about places. We have this we can hide. Height. No, here we don't have height. Okay, so we have find spot, modern places, list with modern places. We have list places, that is the list of places mentioned in the text. And we have oriclock, the original location. 3 different lists with this information containing different types of places. It sounds a bit too much, but keeping them separated that way actually is pretty useful and helps us not to get lost. Now, another thing about the lemmata, the personal names. Yep. About the personal names. The personal names, you have them in a list, but in order for you to have them shown in this list here, you also have to give them a nimref, and that's exhausting. That's a bit exhausting, but anyways, let's see. Here we have the Cassius, Gaius first.
Yes.
And here we have to add something first. We have added the ref. That is
do you want me to give you the file with?
No, it's not necessary. And not .xml hashtag Gaius. But that is not enough. Okay, that puts our Gaius on the list, but we have to do one thing more. We have to have him as a nimref. That would be reference to the canonical name. Provides the canonical form of the name associated with the name, with the person bearing it or whatever. So the nimref would be Gaius or Caius, as you wish. And that actually fills in this list. For your information, you don't have to think which column is filled by which code. You just have to remember that you will need an additional nimref with the regularized form of Caius. And here the same applies for Cassius. Nimref Cassius. Now we have one more time, nimref Felix. So this person has all of his names in their regular forms listed and linked to the authority list of personal names. But still we have one more thing to do, and that would be to treat him as a person, as he is, and give a NIMREF with all his three names. That would be Gaius, Cassius, Felix. I hope you're following me because, yeah, this may seem a little bit excess work, but actually that is just how the XML works, the EpiDoc schema works for visualizing these regularized names. And we have to do it again for every other persons that we have here. Cassia Lacena, per instance, Nimrev, Cassia, Lacena, and here Nimrev, Cassia. So in a way, you sort of double the information because we have the same thing, this Cassia, in your onom.xml list, but still you do it. That's how it works. And here you have Nimrev. Okay, anything else interesting? I'm not sure. For now, that would be it. I think let's check whether we can see something else that slipped our attention.
Well, in the meanwhile, we're expecting questions, comments. Were you able to follow what we were doing? Were you able to do the same? Do you see any problems? And in general, from yesterday up to now, what are your questions or comments too? Okay, nothing, nobody, nothing. Is everything
Nothing.
clear?
Nothing. Everything is clear. Perfect. It will be interesting when we reach the visualization part.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We will link all the references too.
Yeah. I really cannot think of something that we have
No.
missed here. Mm.
Eagle vocabularies probably is something that I would like to show for a second. Let me see where they are and yeah, I told you that when you have a classification of your material types or object types or things like that, you will have to also think how to distinguish between different objects, let's say, or different materials or different bearing objects. So you have here an attempt at control vocabularies in different languages. For example, this is the vocabulary for the object type. And yes, you can choose to have it fully displayed. I think I forgot where this is done from. Show all terms, yes. And here you have everything. It's a bit hard to work it, and it's not always as consistent as they aimed it to be at first place. There are terms which are repeated. There are terms that have more than one designation in English or German or any other languages. But it's still good to use here. You say for ampulla, you have in Italian, you have at least 2 listed terms, bottiglia and borraccia, and go figure what you want to use, but you can at least choose from difference. You have flasche or flask in English, agio in Greek, lekythos also in Greek, lekith in Russian, which is also obviously referring to lekythos, which probably could also be somewhere else under its Greek name. For many of the things, you also have references to all to other controlled vocabularies. For example, the vocabulary of the Getty Museum for different archaeological objects, or vocabulary of the Arachne network, which is something that was done by the University of Cologne in cooperation with the Deutsche Archäologisches Institut. And they have also a type of classification for the different archaeological items and architectural elements and things like that. So it's interesting to go and look at this, and probably you can use it as some sort of reference also to your object types and or document types, or other things such as execution techniques, decorations, etc., etc. But as I was saying, it's probably not entirely consistent, but still there are some things that you can use from here and make sure that you're consistent all over your vocabularies and distinguish between different object types or execution techniques and everything else that you want to have an authority list for or a vocabulary list for, and use the same name in English and in your native language for the same type of object that you have. Yeah, we will also list eagle vocabularies from here on. And yes, okay. Something else to add? No, we'll start with front-end and visualization this afternoon. And you already saw some the mirrors of our Ajax tool that you can use for putting and indexing and visualizing your own stuff. But there's more to it. You will also get acquainted with FS, hopefully tomorrow morning, and you will also get acquainted with what front-end means, what a database means, and things like that, which might be a bit more technical, but it is good to know, if not to be able to work with, because it's a bit more complicated than what we're doing now, at least to have a common notion, general notion of how this works, at least so you can then communicate with the web developer, or whatever technical person you have in your project to be on the same page and to be sure you're speaking the same language, because it's not that straightforward as it seems. Sometimes we have different modes of thinking in IT and in the humanities. So yeah, that's it for now. Anybody else who wants to add something? Okay, if not, Dragana, it's up to you to
Okay.
on the session.
Did you want to add something or just no? Okay. So this was very, very interesting, and I hope that everyone got most of it. So please, if you feel that you can't think of a question right now, save it for later. because this is really some stuff that are applicable for various projects and various topics. So this is really useful. And this has been a useful session. So I will, I think we can conclude now and be back in an hour.
Okay. So
Okay,
thank
just
you, everybody.
everybody, please follow the links provided in the specific session in specific documents. I will send out an email again about with the meeting ID and the password, but regularly follow the document. So that's it. Have a nice break and we'll see you in an hour.
See you in an hour. Have a nice break, everybody.